Hi, this is Louise. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about the ethics of buying very rare plants or endangered species. I've noticed there seems to be a trend at the moment on the internet and YouTube that people are buying rare plants. Now, in my opinion, there are two types of rare plants. I live in the UK, and for me, some plants that are classed as rare would be ones that are not freely available here. Yet you wouldn't see them in the plant nurseries or, places where you normally buy plants. You can buy them in supermarkets nowadays or specialist, florists. So there are those plants that are classed as rare, but they are growing in abundance in their native lands, throughout Asia, South America, where most of the tropical plants grow. But there's another type of endangered species or rare plant, which is actually a plant that is not doing very well in its native habitat, and it's classed as an endangered species in, say, South America or in Indonesia, for instance. And these are the plants that I'm worried about, that people seem to be striving to get. I think there's one particular plant, the Anthurium, is it Billieti? A very long leaf, narrow Anthurium, and I have seen pictures of it, and people have actually managed to acquire these and paid extortionate amounts of money. However, I'd question, why are you buying these plants? They are being poached from the wild, and you must question where they're coming from. They're not available to buy in stores. You're buying them from collectors who supposedly will have acquired them by legal means. But I have heard recently on the internet somebody knowingly purchased a plant from a collector that it in fact had been poached from the wild, from Ecuador, and I think that's outrageous. No plant is worth endangering, in its native habitat, that people are striving to buy these, to have them stuck in their living rooms or greenhouses or wherever they are putting them. It's just not right. It is no, in my opinion, it is no different than buying, say, an animal fur or a byproduct of an animal such as rhinoceros horn, which is totally illegal, or ivory. Putting these animals in danger so that you can acquire them and say, oh, I've got something that's rare. It's outrageous. I just do not agree with that at all. I mean, a lot of plants over the years were not readily available, and now, like this Adansonii, this Monstera Adansonii, wasn't freely available a number of years ago, and I would have considered that a rare plant to buy, say, in the UK, but I don't think it was an endangered species in its native habitat. There are different versions of this which are rare in their own habitat, but whether they can be mass produced or cloned, that would be the best way of purchasing them. If these plants can be left alone in their native habitat, don't remove them from there, but if they can sort of like mass produce from them, then like using tissue culture, then there's no need to go into the wild and remove plants that it's totally illegal to do. That's my opinion anyway. I just don't think it is worth doing that. I would rather get a plant that's aesthetically pleasing to look at and know exactly where it's come from, that it's not come from someone's private collection and that they've illegally purchased it. It doesn't matter that you've not poached it from the wild, but the person was on YouTube recently, said that their plant was bought from a collector and their plant was bought from the person who poached it from the wild. So their plant was, the person that was talking about it was third generation, not really third generation. The first plant that was poached from the wild, that person propagated a plant, sold it to person number one, and person number one propagated that plant and gave it to person number two. And this person, person number two, most probably will propagate, sell it on, and you know, it's totally unethical. I don't agree with that at all. People are buying them rare and charging huge sums of money, and I think if you know that a plant is an endangered species, then don't buy it. You know, leave well alone. Wait until they become more freely available in the marketplace, produced under mass tissue culture, and you've got clean hands then. You can't turn around and say, well, yeah, I didn't poach it from the wild. I know somebody who did, and this is a descendant of that said plant, and say that, you know, your hands are clean. No, I'm sorry, it's totally totally wrong. Anyway, that's my opinion. You may not agree with it, but that's where I stand. I mean, I do like some of these plants that people show on Instagram and YouTube, but if I were to buy one, I'd rather go to the marketplace, see it there, you know, if it's been mass produced, and then knowing that, you know, that plant is, you know, it's not been poached from the wild. I'd try and find out a little bit about it, if it was an endangered species or not, before, you know, buying one. Because if we can't claim to care about the environment and claim to care about endangered species and then buy these super rare plants that we know are endangered species in the wild. So, okay, so enough of that for the time being. I want to talk about what I'm propagating at the moment, or germinating. I don't just buy you know, plants like the Monstera Adansonia. I like all kinds of plants, from the Scindapsus to propagating flowers, you know, for my garden outside. Come the summertime, I will be putting out the alocasia at the back there, the macrorrhiza, and I've got these enset, a little bit, it's going a little bit brown, it was underwatered, so the enset, that will hopefully grow. I have got some divisions of this, unfortunately didn't do very well. Not this particular plant, I had 5 of these, and they were rooted from divisions from a previous plant back in 2018, and it had good, you know, good healthy plants, but over the summer last year the plants didn't seem to grow very well, and that little plant there, this one, was from last year, and you can see it's not grown an awful lot. I think we had a lot of rain in summer. I'm blaming it on that anyway. So the divisions I took, most of them have rotted off, so I've got 2 that I'm hoping will be able to produce a couple of plants at least, you know, so I've got at least 3 or 4 plants for the garden in the summer. And then I'm hoping to get some more tropical plants, a specific plant in particular. I'm not going to say what it is, hoping it will come during the week, and then if it arrives and it's in good condition, I'll do a little video about that. I'll let you know what that is. At the moment, I've got, as I say, I grow all kinds of plants, not just tropical plants, and I've just got some chilies. I've always grown chilies from my first chili plants I grew from this a wild variety of chilli. Back in 1979 I planted my first chilli plants, and they had beautiful purple flowers, and they had little round chillies that turned black and then they would turn red. So those were my first chillies, and I've grown chillies ever since. So this is, I don't know if you can see, RG lemon, and quite a few of these have popped up. I like this chilli. It's a yellow chilli. It has a very citrus, tangy taste to it, and they're fairly hot. You know, they're a good heat. You know, not blow your head off heat. I'm not really interested in using searingly hot chilies in my cooking, but you know, this is the type of chili I like to put in my food. This is, we call this catamorit, which is basically standard green chili, like a cayenne or a bird's eye chili. So literally I just take the chili and let it ripen, turn red, let it dry, and sprinkle the seeds in, and hey presto. So today is the 16th of February, and these were planted on the 2nd of February. So not taken long to pop up. A little bit leggy, need to be near the light a bit more. I'm not going to be using any heat on these. These can just stay near a windowsill and, you know, continue to grow. And the third lot of chilies are, these are the super hot. These are an Armageddon. Basically a Naga. Most of these chilies nowadays that you see, Wutjalokia, etc., all derived from the Naga chili, which has been grown by Bangladeshi people for the last 4 decades or so in this country. The first commercial productivity of the, what I would call the Bangladeshi Nagamurich, was a couple of people who live in Devon who have a company called Sea Spring Seeds, or the Devon Chili Farm. I think they've got the two, and they actually started off by taking a Bangladeshi Nagamurich from a local Bangladeshi grocer's store down, it might have been in London, I'm not sure, and used that chili, produced it. They said that they, I don't know whether it's a hybrid or whatever, but it came from the Bangladeshi Nagamurich, and so they called it the Dorset Naga. But it's a Naga that's been growing for a long time in Bangladesh. If you don't know much about Bangladesh, Bangladesh used to be part of India, and the region where the Bangladesh Nagamurich is grown a lot is in the northwest of the country, and it's a region called Sylhet. Most of the Bangladeshi people living in the UK who came over in the late 50s and 60s, including my dad, brought vegetables and fruit over with them, and every time they would go back they would bring back some fruit and veg, because you couldn't readily buy them here. And then they started opening their own grocery stores and importing these fruit and veg, which they still do now. Things like jackfruit that are not commonly available, but starting to creep into supermarkets now. You will see them. So yeah, Bangladeshi Nagamurich, the long history going way back before, you know, the Dorset Naga came to fame and burst onto the scenes, and since then you've had all sorts of Naga Viper and Carolina Reaper and all that sort of taken off. But yeah, Bangladeshi people have been growing Naga chilies for a long time. So that's my say on the chilies. I've got some sunflowers growing. My husband bought me 2 buckets of like little steel buckets, and there's sunflower seeds in them. So I got that for Valentine's Day. Instead of roses, I got two buckets with sunflower seeds, and there were quite a lot of seeds, more than, you know, that you could use in those 2 pots. So what I've done in one, I planted about 20 in one pot and still had seeds left over, and then I planted 7 in another, and I I'd actually bought some cosmos, different varieties of cosmos flowers and Californian poppies. So I sprinkled those in with the second tub, which only had the 7 sunflower seeds. So when they pop up, I'll show you those. And hopefully I'll have some beautiful flowers in the summer. Just want to update you on this. I still don't know the name of this, so if anybody knows what it's called, it just basically says houseplant foliage. I love the texture of this. This requires a lot of water. Now the soil in there is very, very wet, so I don't let it dry out. I've had one of these before, and I remember when I let it dry out, it just died. It will not tolerate not being watered. So nice little plant, very, very sort of unusual texture to the leaves. I don't spray mist this, I just give it lots of water, and it sits on my kitchen windowsill, so it doesn't really get a lot of full sun. It gets bright light, but it's on a west facing, so the rear of the property. This is the south west, well, this is southeast southwest, because sun rises over there and then it sets over there. So yes, the southeast facing window this is, and this sits on the west side of the house, and it seems to do really well. Nice shape to it, colour. I'm not sure if these are flowers or new leaves. I'm not sure, but I need to find out the name of this, and then I'll label it so you know, can remember. And just an update on another thing that I'm growing. So this is a papaya, and it's oak leaf papaya, and I've been growing this since October, so it's very, very slow growing, but it's doing better than my other papaya seedlings, which I'm not even going to show you. They look pretty poor, and they're the Hawaiian ones. And I did get some mountain papaya which didn't even germinate. So these I got all these seeds from Trade Winds Fruit, and these are the only 2 out of 5 that I planted. No, sorry, 4. There's 4 seeds that I planted in there, and these 2 survived, or the other 2 didn't germinate. So this type of papaya doesn't grow like your traditional papaya, which has a single trunk, similar to like a banana, and fruits are close to the stem. They don't hang off branches, whereas this oak leaf papaya does branch, and the fruits are much smaller. They're probably about the size of, say, a plum, and they grow in clusters off these branches. And I found this out by just trawling the internet or going through YouTube videos, and saw a chap who did a video, and he's in France, the south of France, in a sort of like a garden, where this tree, this huge tree, was growing outside, fairly cold region. It wasn't warm in winter. Papayas are not frost hardy, but this tree was growing on either a slope or a hillside where it was fairly cold and covered in these little fruits. So I thought, we live in a cold climate here in the UK. This is a bit of a challenge for me and many growers, and I wanted to try something that might survive. So I'm hoping that this will survive, and during the summer it will get bigger, and I can divide. There's two plants in here, as you can see, but I'm not separating them just yet. I don't see many roots forming. There are roots in there, but I don't think they're extensive, so I'm not going to repot for no reason. So I'll update you on that. I have a group on Facebook called UK Tropical Plant Growers. It is purely for people who live in the UK, do get lots of requests for people who want to join who are outside the UK, and I'm afraid I have to say no, because there are lots of forums out there on tropical plant growing in the UK, but they have lots of people that are from different countries contributing, and it just seems a bit unfair on the UK growers that we don't have the climate. So I wanted to create a group where we can discuss the challenges of what growing tropical plants, outdoor tropical plants, you know, such as palms, bananas, some colocaceas, these sort of plants, that we've tried to create a tropical vibe in the UK, but knowing the challenges that we face with the weather. So I've kept it to be UK growers only. So if you want to join, if you're in the UK, you need to answer the 3 questions. A, do you live in the UK? B, are you growing tropical plants? You know, if you say you're growing potatoes and turnips and stuff, sorry, you're not going to be able to join. You have to be a tropical plant grower. So you might just have the odd plant, you know, an aroid or, you know, a Houseplant or something like that. So you don't have to have a huge number, but you do need to be a grower of tropical plants. And you must agree to not sell or advertise. So a lot of people who own their own businesses have asked to join, and I have to say no, because it isn't there for you to advertise your products. There are plenty of groups out there on the internet already doing that, where you can sell or swap your plants. You know, you can join those. You know, I'm a member of several different plant forums, but this particular one I created so that we're not bombarded with adverts and links with eBay and what have you. You can communicate with the other members of the group. You know, if you see a plant that you like and you want to, you know, inquire where did they get them, send them a private message. They can tell you where they bought it from, and you know, there's no sort of like issue. If somebody's selling a plant directly to them and it doesn't work out, that's for them to work out. It's not part of the group's forum to, you know, put people down and say, oh, such a body sold me this plant and it was not okay. So for that reason, no selling, no advertising, just purely discussing, posting your pictures of your own plants, and getting tips on germination. So if you can, you know, join the group, make sure that you answer the 3 questions, otherwise I can't add you to the group. We've got about 530 members at the moment, so it's not a huge number, but I do have to cut a lot of people out that do apply. So you know, it is selective. So the name of the group is UK Tropical Plant Growers, and you know, if you want to join, then join. If not, you know, that's up to you. So I'll leave it for now, and I'll let you update. I'll give you an update on the banana plants that I'm growing here when it's time to put them out. This is my Houseplant pup. It's in quite a big pot, and hopefully around about May it should be going outside. And the parent plant is already outside. It's wrapped up in fleece, and nearer the time of putting the plants out, I'll do an outdoor video, get the garden in shape. It's a bit muddy at the moment, and then I'll show you the citrus trees that I'm growing, and my oranges and my lemon trees. I'll update you on that. So thank you for watching. Please click the like and the subscribe button, and hope you can join me next time. Thank you. Bye bye.